Hey everybody, this is your girl Catrice Downs. I am Catrice Downs on all social media platforms. CatriceDowns.com is my website. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to this video and to this channel. Forgive me if my screen is lagging. Once the Archbishop comes on, it will no longer be doing that. I don't know what's up with StreamYard. So for those of you who are like, your service is ghetto, that's not the case. I went online the other day, had a great conversation, and it did not lag when I brought my guest on. If you are new to my channel, thank you all so much for coming on. This is a much needed conversation on tonight, but I have to be honest with you all. I may let the Archbishop do a little bit more talking. You all know he is our resident pastor here on Cocktails, Church and Conversation. We pull on him for guidance and all the above, but I want him to come on today to share his own personal story. He has an awesome story that ties into what we are dealing with right now in our society as it pertains to Black Lives Matter. And he and I have been having conversations, and I've been wrestling with this thing on how should I approach this? If you're familiar with my platform, you will know that I, normally if there's something that's going on within the church that I don't agree with, I am very loud and proud about it. But for some reason, I guess because I have nephews, I have cousins, I'm not yet married, but I do plan on having a husband before the Lord decides to take me up in the sky. So this conversation, we are losing our Black brothers and sisters at an alarming rate, and we definitely need to have this conversation because we need to have more awareness. We need to have the elders. But also, I did not want to rush in and discuss the situation prematurely. I wanted to allow myself to feel. I wanted to allow myself to get out and protest. Amen. So if you have not been out protesting, no peaceful protest. Okay, peaceful protest. No justice, no peace out in these streets. I encourage you all to go out and do so. Again, my the software is lagging. I watched 3 videos from people that use StreamYard, and this is not something that's uncommon. So hopefully they will fix the glitch. Okay. So without further ado, we're going to have our resident pastor. He is the Archbishop of the Arrow of Yahweh International Ministries. I got that off the top of my dome, Archbishop. I'm not reading off the script. But he's also a former police officer from the Nassau County Police Department in Queens, New York. He's also a resident of Nassau County, Queens, New York. He is here to share with us his story. Of course, you all know I have questions. You all know I have my cocktail. We like to clean it up over here on this side. I keep telling y'all, I'm saved, but he's saved on a whole nother level than I am because he is responsible for a whole flock of people. But without further ado, we unmute him so that hopefully this will be working properly. I'd like to introduce you all to the Archbishop Russell James Davenport. God bless you, sir.
Hey, God bless you, Catrice. God bless you, everybody. Thanks for having me on the show this evening.
Thank you so much for coming on. Oh, well, thank you for accepting the invitation. Thank you for coming on and sharing what has happened to you. I'm interested in hearing from you because you are an elder of the church. You are a bishop and overseer of a flock, but you're also a Black man. And this touches home because, and my sister's on, she said, yay, Archbishop. But this touches home for you because you actually have had a run-in with now you're retired police. So give us a little bit of your background so that people know who you are and exactly what happened to you with your experience.
All right, so let me kind of clear some things up. So I'm ex-police officer at the Savannah Police Department out of Savannah, Georgia. And I retired from the Nassau County Sheriff's Department here in Nassau County, New York, where I served as what they call a Bureau of Municipal Police. I was a certified police instructor. I trained every major law enforcement institution in the county of Nassau, whether it was
Wow.
fire marshals, bay constables, sheriff's deputies, sheriff's department, Nassau County Emergency Services, so on and so forth. I've also FBI certified firearms instructor as well as a New York State firearms instructor, and a whole host of other lovely things
Come
that
on, tell the people, because the people need to know that you are not a novice at this situation. This is something that you've lived for. I mean, more than 25 years of your life.
27 years. All right, if I
Amen.
must, I'll go on and say that I'm a New York State
Go
certified.
on. You know I'm gonna pump you up now, so you you know when you come on this platform, I'm going to make sure that you get credit where credit is due. Amen.
Bless you. Well,
Amen. All
I'm a
right.
New York State certified chemical agents instructor, also New York State certified OC instructor, cultural diversity instructor, effective communications instructor, suicide prevention instructor, sexual harassment prevention instructor, and
Okay.
a few that I forget. But I'll just say
Okay.
that God
All
has
right.
been very, very good to me. I've been doing
Amen.
it for about 27 years. I
Wow.
do reside in Roosevelt, in Nassau County, New York, and I've been able to see and witness a lot of things. But you know what, Katrina, I'm glad that you said the things that you said because tonight I kind of want to take off the Archbishop hat until later.
Yes.
I just want to be a
Have
black
your
man
way, sir.
tonight. Just be a black man on tonight.
Come on.
And I say that to anybody that is a black male that has a title, an official title, or you're walking on an official office. You need to
Mm-hmm.
remember that you are a black man or a black woman because if you do
Yeah.
not, the powers that be have a way of reminding you
Come on.
who you are. And
Yeah.
depending on how deep you are will determine whether or not you can survive their little reminders.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what happened to me was at 4:30 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, everybody sleep.
Mm-hmm.
In my backyard, it's pitch black dark. I didn't have at that time, like sensor lights, so it's dark.
Right.
Uh, a white male, which I didn't know he's a white male at the time, a white male, and I live in the hood. I want to make that clear. I live in the hood. So a
Mm-hmm.
white male came into the hood, entered into my property, and attempted to break into my home. I caught him outside. I caught him.
Come on. What you say? You
I
caught him.
caught him. And I want to make this clear. This is something else that I didn't mention, but you said mention it, so I'm going to mention it.
Yeah, please do.
I'm also a grandmaster in martial arts. I box for the United States Army, and
Mm-hmm.
the title eighth degree in different systems of martial arts. I can handle myself pretty decently. And
Mm-hmm.
so I came out in the middle of the morning, 4:30 in the morning, catching this guy trying to climb into the bedroom window of my daughter's room. Uh, my daughter and my granddaughter sleep there.
Mm-hmm.
And I came outside, I grabbed my weapon. I'm giving a short version. And I screamed at this guy and I said, "Get on the ground. What are you doing here? Get on the ground. Who are you?"
Right.
This is what I'm trying to do. I have my weapon pointed, center mass. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. I don't know if he had something on him. It looked
Right.
like he had
Yes.
a gun in his hand. But as I got closer, it turned out not to be a gun. Later on, I found out it was a big black phone. Uh, so I told him to
A
get on.
phone.
It was a phone. He had a big phone in his hand.
Now,
And
what year was this, Archbishop?
this happened 2017.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
gonna give you that history. So
Okay.
um, I told him to get on the ground, and he wouldn't do it. So the guy lunged at me to hit me. And so
Mm-hmm.
I had to make a split decision to shoot this guy or not shoot this guy. When I see
Right.
that he didn't have a gun, I couldn't shoot. He didn't have a gun. So I moved
Right.
out of the way. But when I moved out of the way of his strike, I lost my footing in the gravel and in the dirt, and I fell to one knee. When I fell on
Mhm.
one knee, my body jerked and my weapon fired in the dirt. Let me say that again. My weapon
Mhm.
fired in the dirt.
Right.
When he heard
Right.
the gun go off, he laid down on the ground and he gave up. I told my wife to call the police department. The police
Mhm.
department came, they picked him up, walked him out in front of the house, put him in a car, sent him on his way, and came back and took my guns and arrested me.
Now, if you don't mind, if I can stop you right there, because I have a question. So the gun went off in the ground. The police came after your wife called the police, and they escorted the then Caucasian assailant to his car and allowed him to leave the premises. Okay, go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish, and
They came back, they arrested me. Now, I sat in jail for 26 hours in the
I
same
have
place
more questions.
where where I have
Hello.
trained everybody. 26 hours. But
Mm-hmm.
you had a question, you was going to say something?
Go ahead. The first half.
Okay. You froze. Okay. So after sitting in jail for 26 hours, when I went to the courtroom, the judge said, "This is crazy. This man shouldn't be in my courtroom." They let me out.
Mm-hmm.
They sent this to
Mm-hmm.
felony court. They tried to give me 10 years, 10 years in jail. I beat it, got it thrown out in felony court.
Oh
They
my.
dropped it down to misdemeanor court, charged me again. I beat it in misdemeanor court. They charged me a third time in the same court. I beat it again, and they finally threw everything out and exonerated me. Now, here's the kicker.
Wow.
Here's the kicker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm, I went to court through the United States justice system. I was completely cleared and
Mm-hmm.
completely exonerated. When I went back to the police department to retrieve my guns, because they took my guns, right? To
Right.
retrieve my
Okay,
guns,
so they confiscated your weapons the night of that everything happened.
right.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, mind you, I fought for 2 years to vindicate myself. That's why you're just hearing about it. I
Right.
fought for 2 years to get cleared. And once I was completely vindicated, I went to go back to get my property.
Mm-hmm.
They said to me that they weren't going to give me back my property. And I said, why not? They sent me a letter and said that because I acted immoral and I was reckless. I said, immoral?
Right.
Let me get this. I was immoral because I was a black man defending my children, my
That's right.
family from a burglar at 4:30 in the morning. I didn't shoot him,
Mm-hmm.
and I was reckless because I did that
Right. Because your weapon went off on in the ground, not on anybody. It didn't shoot anybody.
on my property. And it
Right.
was an accidental discharge. I didn't fire it. They said
Right.
I was immoral. Now, I understand at the time they didn't know who I was. They didn't know that I sit in their meetings. They didn't know
Right.
that I advised them. They didn't know that I've serviced the community during all the major hurricane efforts. I mean, they didn't know that. All they saw was this black man who had a gun, a
Right.
legal gun,
Mm-hmm.
who just won in court. That wasn't good enough. Since when does the courts make a decision and say free, clear, done?
Mm-hmm.
I felt like OJ,
Mm.
right? Wasn't OJ
Speak
clear
on
in
that.
court?
Yes. Oh
Did
yeah.
white America still consider him guilty?
Absolutely.
That's how.
Absolutely. They sure did.
And so, what I realized in the wake of George Floyd is that there's more to the systemic harassment and racism than the boots on the
Yeah.
ground racism that we experience.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has grown accustomed to the boots on the ground, the police presence, the police attacking people of color and
Mm-hmm.
disarming us and not even giving us the right to defend ourselves, either physically
Right.
or in conversation. But what we're not aware of is that wickedness in high places, that now
Come, you better speak that.
within the government levels, there are systemic things that are put in place to
Mm-hmm.
disarm people of color. My
Yeah.
attorney, which we filed a lawsuit, my attorney was able to find out that in Nassau County, there is a disproportionate amount of black people that have been disarmed.
I'm listening. So my dog just walks in the room
That,
casually.
that's all right. In other words, what I'm saying is black people that are qualified to have firearms are not being allowed to have firearms, no matter what their background are. They have
Right.
systematically disarmed people of color in Nassau
Mm-hmm.
County, New York, under the supervision of the county executive, Laura Curran. And so this is a whole nother level of systemic racism. You know,
Right.
this
Right.
is what you don't know. You're following the rules. You're doing everything that you're told to do. You're filling out the paperwork and you send your stuff in, and they automatically deny you once they see that you are a person of color.
Right.
This has been an outrage, and I thank God for you. I thank God for the public that has been pouring in their comments. Everybody's stunned. They're going, "What? You mean you were protecting your home at 4:30 in the morning, and they said that you was immoral?" Last thing I'm gonna say on this for right now, following your lead, if you think
That's
about,
all right. Go ahead. I'm listening.
yeah, this is the Catrice Downs show. I don't want to take over.
This is a people show. We're gonna talk about some real issues on this platform. But go ahead, sir.
There's a movie I think Samuel Jackson starred in. I think it was called The Time to Kill.
Okay.
And the way they won the case in the end of the movie was the attorney simply told everybody, close your eyes. Now, everything
Mm,
that you heard all the facts. Put a
right.
white man in the place of the black person.
Come on.
So if I was in a white neighborhood
Mm-hmm.
as a black man and I went into a white residence unannounced at 4:30 in the morning and attempted
Mm-hmm.
to climb through one of their windows,
Mm-hmm.
and a white man came out with a gun and accidentally discharged, and I laid down and gave up. When the police
Mm-hmm.
came, they would have dragged me out of that yard on my face to the car. They couldn't wait to get me into that car.
Absolutely.
There would have been no questions. That
Yeah.
white man would have still had his license intact. I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Now
And
this is
I concur with that. I do. And not to interrupt you, but I will say this to you. And my sister and I have had a lot of conversations after this. You know, we've always known that there's been systemic racism. I think that there's, we're at a different, we're at a greater level. I don't want to say a different level. We're at the same level, but I feel like it's a lot greater right now. I think that everybody's starting to be more awakened to it. And I have to be honest with you, and I'll be honest on this platform so people can take this and do whatever they want to do with it. I grew up on two separate ends of the aisle. Okay, so my father was, former Vietnam. He was a Vietnam veteran, and so he found, after he was honorably discharged, and then came back, and he had my parents had my sister and I. We moved to a very suburban community. Now, my sister and I had absolutely no clue that our parents were the working poor because we lived in this beautiful community. And I would say maybe 5% of the people that I grew up around look like me in the community. Maybe less than that. Okay. I'm talking about the entire Arnold area of the community look like me. And then on the flip side of the aisle, you have, the country part where my family grew up, and you see nothing but people that look like you. And so you kind of develop and my nana, my spiritual mentor, she said, you can go into any room and talk to anybody because you just, I grew up in different parts. But one part that I did not realize about myself was that, and I don't know if I can attribute it, I know I have to attribute it more to the suburban side. Okay. That I was raised around a lot more Caucasian people, or, people of different, Caucasian, Asian, Hispanic, even had a couple Jewish families. So I guess I didn't realize that it was so bad until the Trayvon Martins, the Eric, you know what I'm saying? Like over the years, because even though I hung out in different areas, where I lived looked completely different. You know what I'm saying? And so my perception was jaded. I think that's why it's taking me so long to process all of this death, because now I'm looking like, again, I'm not married, but I have nephews, I have cousins, I have uncles, I have elders who are strong Black men in the community, pillars in our community, pastors in the community. And you start to have a certain level, we're taking the titles off, right? People on the platform don't know I was an ordained evangelist. Taking the titles off, you start to have a certain level of fear just for someone to leave the house. You see what I'm saying? And that's just because, can I let you down now? This is my dog Aspen, y'all, by the way. He's making a special appearance because it's fireworks outside. You okay? So, and so that's why I wanted to have this conversation. But I think that's why it's taken me so very long to talk about this, because like you said earlier in this, is that you have to remind yourself of who you are. Well, who I am on the outside, I didn't really think about that too much, because during the time that we were integrated into this public school system, there were people that didn't look like me. I still felt like I fit in, if that makes any sense. So I didn't have to, even though the area was, like I said, predominantly Caucasian, I still didn't have a fear, so to speak. Now it's different. Now I'm more cognizant. When I go walking in the morning, right, and you're walking, and I'm the only Black person on the trail, and then you have white people coming towards you, and then they decide to turn around and walk away from you because you're Black. Oh, that's right, I'm a tall Black woman, right? And I'm outside with glasses on, with headphones in, and a innocent little hip pack, right? So then it comes full circle. I am a Black woman first. Does that make sense?
It does, but you know what, Patrice? I subscribe to the mindset. I refuse to walk around in fear, and I refuse to back down, which is one of the reasons why, even though it took us some time, while we just released this press release in reference to what happened to me, and while we filed a lawsuit, because I'm not going away. What happened was wrong, and right now, with the mindset of, or I should say, the fact that America is woke now, everybody is, and plus with the COVID, everybody has been able to be still for a while and be still,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
forced to see things that they may not want to see. And so they're forced
Yeah.
to realize, wait a minute, did that really happen?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's something I'm putting on the Archbishop hat for right now.
Sure.
There is something that has transpired in a supernatural way. And let me tell you what I mean. This thing that happened to George Floyd is not new.
No,
It's
it's
been
not.
happening for many years. But there's something about this particular incident that rings different in the atmosphere.
It sure does.
It's touching everybody where they need to be touched. It's opening up
Yeah.
every eyes. And for the first time that I can remember, for the last couple of days, I have been watching the various police departments. The police departments are shook. The
Oh
police
yeah.
departments are now looking at being defunded. They're crying about it. The police department, they're taking a knee with us. The white officers are taking a knee. But
Yeah.
here's my issue. My issue is, after all of the rallies and the
Yeah.
protesting, they expect us to do that. They're not
Yeah.
expecting us to do it as long as this is going on.
That's right. That's
And,
right.
and they're not
Yeah.
expecting us to be arm in arm with white people and people of all color. But they expect us to rally, make some noise. That's
Yeah.
why they had it set up with agitators to mingle in amongst us and start tearing stuff up and setting
Yeah.
stuff on fire to try to distract the public's eye. But we're hip to
Hmm.
that game, and now the public is hip to it as well.
They're seeing
Right?
it. They're
They're,
seeing it because they're home.
they're home, so they
They're
understand.
home.
But here's my thing: this is something that must continue. I'm not talking about the protest and all of that. That'll go on as long as it goes on. But when the protests
Right.
stop, we need valid things that are instituted to correct the systemic racism. And there,
Yeah.
defunding is one. What is it? I believe
Hmm.
it was 50A. Is that the proper? I believe it's
I
50A. A bill
did
that's
not see that one, so don't quote me on that.
okay. I believe 50A is being passed, and it enables the public to be able to view the records, the disciplinary records of the police officers.
I did see that. Okay.
All
Yeah.
right, that's been
Yeah.
passed.
Yeah.
Uh, there's issues of indemnification that have to be readdressed. And for those that don't know what that is, indemnification is something that police officers operate under, knowing that they can do whatever they want to do, say whatever they want to do, and they
Hmm.
can't be sued personally.
Mm.
It'll be the state, it'll be the county that they work for that gets sued. So they don't worry about it. But if you
Hmm.
revisit issues of indemnification, vicarious liability, then you'll start seeing a change because now, once they realize that they are going to be held accountable and that their own pockets can be affected, you are
Yeah.
going to start to see a systemic change. They're already crying just from the defunding. I can go on. There's a lot of solutions, but these things must be implemented.
Well, I'll say this to you, Archbishop. I've been watching, and again, I've been very silent until Sunday. I finally broke my silence. So on one hand, we have George Floyd, right? We have the Breonna Taylor, and we have Ahmaud Arbery. But in particular, I think we really started to get out and protest when we saw that man. When we saw we call him Chauvin on George Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. But then it's funny to me because you're in New York, and then we have the George Floyd situation, we have the protesters out, and you still have some people that may not look like us, because I can't say all of Black people are on board, because there are certain people. We're not going to get into her today, and I'm not going to speak her name on this platform right now.
Is that CEO?
You said what? Yes, that's that. We're not going to speak about her right now, because we're going to let her. This is a special place on the sideline for sis, okay? Because I have some words that I can't say on the line with you. Thank you. I mean, I can, because I'm going to say it anyway. But then, and I think that you still had some people, the protests that I've been a part of, and the rallying I've been a part of, and the things that I've been seeing, and within my own personal community, has been the majority white, okay? But then you still have people on the sideline in these different chat forums saying Black lives don't matter because they don't matter to Black people, and blah, they blah. Then last week, I believe, it was last week, because Governor Cuomo came out on my sister's, and shame on her. And we have this 75-year-old white man protesting, okay? Minding his business. Now, if we had not seen, I'm going to just follow me, if we had not seen George Floyd, his soul being snatched away in front of our eyes, but then you see on CNN that this white 75-year-old white man is walking, and you have an army of police officers, and one pushes this man down, hits his head on the ground, and then they make up a false report. Follow me. If we had not had the George Floyd situation, and this situation happened, then you would see people saying, oh my God, I can't believe the police would do something like that, right? Because forget all the countless Black brothers and sisters who have gone before and lost their lives to police brutality and injustice. But then you have on the flip side this poor little white man just walking down the street. He's letting his voice be heard in Buffalo, New York. He's walking down the street, and they push him, and then he, goes to the hospital. So do you see? There's a difference, because and when I saw that on CNN, I said to myself, they're highlighting this because this is a white man. They came out with 2 more reports within the last 2 days. I cannot remember the names of the other 2 black gentlemen who were killed in like manner of George Floyd in the last 2 years. Okay, they both said, I can't. It was caught on audio. I can't breathe. Okay.
Can't breathe.
Yes.
Listen,
Yes.
after Eric Gardner, there is a universal understanding, whether
Yes.
you're a police officer or whether you're a civilian.
Mm-hmm.
That understanding is when you hear those words, I can't breathe, it should wake you up instantly because of what just happened. It should shake you. It should put the police officer in a state of mind saying, wait a minute. If I was thinking about doing something wrong, I better stop. Wait a minute. This person might actually be hurt. I need to get him some help. Not ignore the precedents that have been set and continue to execute somebody in front of the world. I really feel that it was intentional. I
Yeah.
really believe that
Yeah.
that man wanted George Floyd to suffer as long and as much as he could. He had zero emotion, zero mercy in him.
None
The officers were
whatsoever.
around him. They didn't bat an eye.
Whatsoever.
And I'm praying by the grace of God that justice is served, because everybody needs to understand it's just far from over. He was just charged. The officers were just charged. They have not
Mm-hmm.
been indicted.
That's right. That's
They
right.
can still get off.
Now I'm going to say this. I have 2 things to say. Okay. I have 2 things to say. Number 1, if those officers are acquitted, the United States, first of all, we have people in Madrid, Spain, Italy. We have the United Kingdom. They are all marching and saying Black Lives Matter. If they acquit Derek Chauvin, Trump think he saw something the last 2 weeks. He has not seen anything yet. Okay, that's number 1. Let me finish that. Number 2, this is my PG-13 method of handling Deacon Chauvin. Okay, I said because it's not right to wish death on people. I said to myself, I'm a community person, right? I love the people in the community. It's been a long time in nonprofit public health. I said, the right thing to do while Deacon Chauvin is in while he's in custody, don't separate him and put him in isolation like he's some type of daggone celebrity. No. You put him in a nice little special area where you have 4 bloods. This is now, look, this is not Archbishop talking. This is Catrice. So y'all don't go back and tell the people in the area y'all went to National Ministries that Archbishop. No, this is me. Put him in there with 4 bloods, 4 Crips, and 4 MS-13 members of the gang. Yes, I did. I sure did. Put him there. Put him there for a little piece. He ain't got to be there. He ain't got to be there the whole time he's there. Put him in there for about 2-3 weeks, or better yet, put him in there for 8 weeks and 46 minutes.
Bless you. I have a cup of Crisco oil here. I'm going to anoint you with some hot Crisco oil. I'm throwing it at the screen. Huckamashunda.
And amen.
but
But I stand on that because, and I'll be honest, I have not been able to watch the entire video. I think I was able to, and I wasn't even able from the start. It was at the end. I was not able to, I wasn't able to watch it.
You know, a lot of
And
there's
I,
a lot of tears.
I could not bring myself to watch it. And I think that the second part of that is to know that his mother is deceased. She's gone. And he called out for his mother. And, my sister and I, my cousin Trinity, shout out to her. She graduated this past week. We're having something for her. Her mom's having something for her. But we went to protest. And I saw my cousin who's, been in and out of the system for, maybe 4 or 5 years total max. And he said, "What are you all down here protesting?" Now he's doing the best that he can, Archbishop. But I said to him, I said, "We are protesting for all of us." Because that could be you. You have a record. You're a black man. You have influence. You have character. He has charm. People love him. But you are a target. And to know that George Floyd called out for his mother, told that man, I can't, and was respectful until the end. And people sat, because again, I couldn't watch it all, watched as his spirit left his body. I don't know how anyone with a pulse could not be sympathetic to that.
I
And
heard I heard that one of the defending attorneys said that if the public that was watching was so concerned, why didn't they do something to stop it instead of just filming? Which is ludicrous because what is the public going to do?
absolutely,
They're going to jump on police officers, and then now they're going to get arrested themselves for doing what?
yeah,
Uh, Disorderly conduct or assault and battery on a police officer.
mm-hmm.
And now their whole life is going to be changed. A lot
Yeah,
of people watch this thing and have been broken. Now it's been
yeah,
weeks, and we've had a chance to come to grips with actually, with what happened, but it still hurts many people. So there's
oh
going to
yeah,
be a need for healing. But what I will say is that I'm very proud. Uh, I'm not running for office, but listen, I'm very proud of the United States in this way.
yeah,
They've
yes,
lifted up their voices and they
mm-hmm.
finally said that enough is enough. There are
Yeah,
neighboring countries that had also said the same. Do you know that
yeah,
this is the first time in history that I'm aware of that the third world countries are really looking at us with a certain level of disdain, not because
yeah,
of
oh
our
yeah,
money, but because of
yeah,
our moral character. The moral
absolutely,
character of this country has been destroyed, and 45 has yet to show any compassion towards what has happened. He's spoken with the family. I listened to an interview, and the brother said he spoke to Donald Trump, but he could not get a word in edgewise. Donald Trump
mm-hmm.
said what he wanted to say, wouldn't really let him speak, and it was really an uneventful phone call. And what was that tweet he put up and said that George Floyd shouldn't have died in such a horrible way. There are so many other ways for people to die, and he didn't have to die that way. As to say, it was all right that he died. He could have died any other way, but I didn't really want to see him die that way. I don't care. I don't care that he died, but we
Right,
can come up with all kinds of ways that we can kill him, but not that way.
right. No, you said that right. Said that part right.
What kind of leader that is representing an entire country speaks like that?
Well, let's go back. He's not a leader. That's just what it is. And this is not a political show, but the truth is that he is not a leader. And let's go back for a second. You said that the third world countries are looking at us in disdain because of our moral compass. The 45 Donald Trump, I'm just gonna call his name, has no moral compass. He's never had to have a moral compass. You live in New York. You know his history. It's look, people, if you don't know nothing about what Donald J. Trump has done in his life, all you got to do is go on Netflix. It's all there. Okay, you have the Meet the Trumps. You have it's about 3 or 4 exposés on Donald Trump. There's one on CNN about how the situation of when his father was a slumlord. I think it was in Brooklyn, I believe. He didn't want blacks living, and then Donald Trump was in charge of one community. He didn't want blacks moving in. Okay, but this is the thing, and you're seeing this, that we still, even though third world countries, you have the United Kingdom, Spain, and Italy that are marching for us, you still have people that live down the street from you that can't stand the sight of you.
That's
And those are the people who have ignited this president. Those are the people who keep this president in office. Those are the people who retweet his foolish tweets. Okay, they everything that this man says, even though it is absolutely ludicrous, those are the people who feed into the crap. I have a pastor friend. I mean, quite as kept, he used to try to date me all the time, and I let him take me out about a good 2-3 dozen times because he was spending his money. Okay, but he and I in 2016, I mean, that's the truth. No, I don't need no oil for that. That, dear Archbishop, is the truth. That pastor, he knows who he is. You know, he wanted the girl so much he was willing to do anything. Okay, I'm not gonna go too much into detail. I'm gonna do that on another broadcast with my girlfriends. But this particular pastor and we were, I think we were at Outback Steakhouse in Bowie, Maryland. And he would be there first, and he would order my drink, and I would sit there, and I would walk in, and we get lots of hugs and everything. And when I sat down with him, now I said, I have to ask you this question. You and I have been hanging out for quite some time. I was cheating on my boyfriend at the time. Wink. Thank you, Ron. But I sat down and I said, I have to ask you one question. How did you think the election turned out? And he said to me, well, I voted the only way. I said, okay. Well, what does that mean? That I voted for Trump. And those same people who were ignited 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago, I have not heard a word from them. Not one word have I heard from those men and those women, black, white, purple, and green. Their silence tells me that you are okay with what is going on, even as it pertains to our fallen brothers and our sisters, even if they look like you. You see what I'm saying?
You're talking about silence. I feel that as clergy, as pastors,
Yes, sir. Oh,
any pastor, and I'm going on record, that is not taking a position to clearly state that this that has happened to Brother Floyd was absolute wrong, and that it's time for everybody to wake up and begin to position and prepare themselves for change, then that pastor is doing his church and his people an injustice. There's more to church than just the 4 walls. You have to get out from behind the 4 walls. Sometimes you have to get out there in the street, be right there with your people, stand for your people, and fight. Now, I don't want to stand here as acting like I'm the judge, because I believe because of the climate and because of the voice of the people, that at the very least there are going to be some small changes. There are going to be some attempts to pacify the voice, but people have to keep lifting their voice. How are they going to do that? It's going to have to come, yes, through the churches. It's going to have to come through your public officials. It's going to have to come from your local media, your newspapers, your TV shows are going to have to keep talking about making sure that there is an even scale of justice in the United States.
I have something to say about the pastor situation, and because my platform, it is not to tear down pastors. Let me just say that, because a lot of people are a little bit afraid of the title of my YouTube channel. My channel is not by any way, and thank you for those who are watching, is not to tear down the body of Christ. It is to bring forth awareness to the body of Christ. Okay? However, I see a change. It's been 3 months since we've been on quarantine, just about. Okay? Things started to shut down in New York probably mid-March or so. So going on 3 months. When COVID-19, just follow me, when we started to see an influx of people being diagnosed or tested positive for COVID-19, and governors were saying, we're going to shut down businesses, we're going to shut down the church. What did you hear? You can't shut our doors. We can't do that. No, our people need a place to come to worship. Our people need a place to come in and to basically saying they need to get a place to give their tithes and their offering. That's how I'm looking at it. I've noticed that that there are similar voices and I'm talking about mainstream. I'm talking about people that we see on Facebook every day. And some of them in their casts, some of them in gym clothes, whatever, who were complaining, and I'm saying that properly for this broadcast, who are female dogging it and complaining about the church doors being closed for COVID-19. I have not heard a single word about the death of George Floyd. A man that looks like them.
You are hitting a very delicate subject with me, and I will give you an example here in New York. And I want to say it very carefully because there are a lot of great pastors here in New York, and there are a lot of men and women that do stand up for the issues. But I have stayed out overnight in what we call a tent city.
Yeah,
On the front lawn of the county's main headquarters, overnight in tents, fighting for fair housing. I have marched. I have done this and that, often by myself.
Yeah.
With no other clergy around.
Yeah.
And so it bothers me that not more clergy are present. To the ones that are being visible, bless you. Thank God, because God doesn't need any coward soldiers. But for those that are hiding out, shame on you. Because you're going to have to give an account, I believe, for your inaction. I really believe that. I think now, though, I heard what you said about the pastors that were concerned about a place for offering. I pray that that's far and few in between. And again, I can't speak for anybody else, but for me, when I heard that the government was going to close our church, I said to my church, I'm not going to close until I know that this is a legitimate thing.
Yeah.
And when I found out just how powerful this COVID was, what was going on, for the safety of my members, I closed doors.
Yeah.
And we've had this conversation before. There were some pastors that were going to stay open regardless of what. And a lot of their members died as a result of it.
Yeah.
You okay over there?
I just muted myself so that I wouldn't overtake what you were saying.
I'm ready for you.
I can't with you in this mass situation, sir. I doubt that you're going to get the droplets.
I don't want it from I'm just saying. But
okay.
I think that we are in a climate now where everybody must show and prove. Yeah. Everybody must walk in their calling, stand up who you are, and let your voice be heard. And don't let go. Don't let go. We need systemic change and be proactive. Yes. Do I understand the screaming, the the anger? Do I understand the legitimate burning of cars? Do I understand turning over this and that? I absolutely do, because it's
Mm-hmm.
the voice of the people who feel
Yeah.
that they have no one to listen to them. Their frustration
Mm-hmm.
is pent up. I forget who it was who said that riots are the voice of the people, right?
Martin Luther King said that.
Yeah, something to that effect.
Yeah.
And it's a very true statement. But we can't just riot. I was never
Yeah.
with tearing up my own stuff. You know, I could say something, but I'm not going to say.
Say
You
it again. No,
know,
say it again. Say that one again.
not my own stuff. If
Not
I'm
my own stuff.
if I'm going to riot and tear up stuff, it's not going to be my own stuff. I'm talking.
Absolutely.
Archbishop had us going. Okay, I'll put it back on now. But what I'm saying is that we have to
Okay.
come together and be very proactive. Forums like this that you've created for discussion is very powerful. I thank God for what you're doing. It's very insightful. I pray that your presentation really blows up. You have the personality for it. You're raw, and sometimes you have to be raw.
Yeah.
I'm not the favorite amongst my colleagues because I'm raw. I just don't go
Exactly.
for everything. If it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. I'm not just siding what's about. You know, I'm
Look, you and I are one of the same because we've had many conversations, and you and I are both on the same page. I'm not in favor, and I listen again. I was ordained in 2009. I do not carry that title. I mean, I guess God just gave me the title, but I don't mind calling wrong wrong. Sometimes our people have, and I'm talking about people in general, but I'm going to focus on the Black church for a second. Sometimes we have a really poor habit of calling wrong right and right wrong. We will stand up for foolishness, but not righteousness. And that's one reason why I stepped down from the ministry. That's one reason, not in totality, but I could not sit around and be amongst people who wanted to. And my church was a great church, awesome pastor. She's still pastoring to this day. God bless. But I was not in favor. First of all, I don't like no secrets and no foolishness. And I will say it how it is, and I will stand flat footed in that. I have always been that way. This is how I've always been. I don't have a problem with being in ministry and saying, that's not right. Or if I was doing wrong, I would say, hey, I was out there doing wrong. Yeah, I was in the club. Yeah, I was out here drinking. That was my personality. I was never in favor of secrecy and pretending. That's just never been my character. If you're gonna do wrong right. Okay? Do it to the best of your ability, but then own your stuff. Don't sit up there and put on a front, because if nobody else sees what you do, who sees it? God sees it. God knows, right? So that's just a part of who I am. That's not going to change. And I know that I make a lot of people very uncomfortable as it pertains to what I have to say, especially on this platform, because but you got to sometimes come up and you got to say what you got to say. You don't have to agree, but we can have an open dialogue with one another and move forward.
I'm praying that through all of this, as people watch what's going on in this country, that we
Mm-hmm.
be fortify ourselves
Yeah.
with our faith
Yeah.
and with unity, because as you see now, as the people come together in unity, one
Mm-hmm.
one mind, one purpose, one voice, it is sending a ripple throughout the world. And that's
Yes.
something that we need to do. We need to stop tearing each other down.
Yes.
We need to focus more on building each other up.
Yes.
There are people that are broken from so many different areas, and they need some help. They need some real
Yeah.
people out there that are willing to put themselves in harm's way to help them. George
Mm-hmm.
Floyd, his situation was so powerful. Obviously, he never had an idea that his life was going to impact the world. And we never know what's going to happen one instant to the another, to the next.
Yes, right.
In the wake of George Floyd, there has been a few more assaults by law enforcement officers in like manner, but
Yeah.
they've not quite hit the media yet. It's going, I think, because everybody has been focused on the George Floyd situation. I understand there was a black woman that was just shot in the street, I think, like last week. So I'm trying to get more
I did
information.
not know that one.
I am a police officer, um, and they have it on video. So there's a lot that's still, it's going to take some time, but
Mm-hmm.
I believe we can do this. I believe we have, people have given this country a black eye as a result
Mm-hmm.
of what happened. And now they're forced to listen. Now, whether they're forced to make change depends on us.
Yeah, I agree with that. I had a list of questions, but this dialogue is so good. Let me, and you've already alluded to the rioting and the peaceful protest. What do you have to say about those who say that there's no need for the rioting or I mean, because we already know there's a need for protest. We have to get out on the street. But what do you say to that person that says it doesn't take all that? What do you
Well,
say to that?
unfortunately, I say, and I'm being careful with this, that as it relates to people of color, it takes that and more.
Yeah.
You want us to comply with your rules, we comply, and we still get no justice. You tell us if we go against your rules, we're going to be penalized, or we don't
Yeah.
get any justice. If we take it to court, a lot of times we lose in court and we don't get no
Mm-hmm.
justice. And so a lot
Yeah.
of times when we put our best foot forward, we're not being given a fair shake. And so the frustration builds. And sometimes it's not until we make a noise that we get
Yeah.
people's attention. I'm personally that way. As a matter of fact, I get very upset. I get upset. I get upset
Let me
when,
find out you get upset.
and I get upset when I tell people this is this way, this is that way. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling them for a week, a month, a year,
Mm.
not listening to me. And then they do something. And then when I am reminded of all that conversation, all of those attempts at trying to get you to do it right the right way, when I finally
Mm-hmm.
explode, people don't understand it. They don't understand
Mm-hmm.
it's not an instantaneous thing. It has taken time over the course of time, over the course of time. But for people of color in this country, we have been hit for so many years. We're up to
Yes.
here with racism.
We're tired.
We've had enough.
Tired.
And so now people, even to the point, you know what? I'm going to lift up my voice, even if it means I'm going to die. I would rather die for justice and to be free than to be silent and continue to be enslaved by society and its mandates. I think that's the mindset of a lot of people. And
Mm-hmm.
but let me stay there. You said you had some questions.
No, no, no. That's good. I think that what you're saying, and I want to open up the floor. People want to actually come on. I don't want to hold you too long, but I had a whole bunch of questions, but I feel like this dialogue has just been so good that I don't really need to ask too much more. Because this is something that we need, and I think we need to continue the conversation. I think that we need to continue to share. Let me just share the link in case people want to come on really quickly. So if you all are on, if you're watching, if you want to let your voice be heard for like a minute, only 1 minute, ladies and gentlemen, you're able to. Do you have about 10 more minutes to spare, Archbishop?
I'm good.
Okay, just want to make sure. I don't want First Lady saying, let me put you all on pause for 1 second. Um, oh shoot. Okay, perfect. I did not log off. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Let me adjust my light while I'm doing this. All right. Are you there, Archbishop?
I'm here.
Perfect. So I don't know if anyone is interested in coming in, but I am going to paste this link really quickly. If you all are in the chat, I just posted it. I think that this conversation is needed, and I think that for a lot of us, again, I know for myself, and if you all want to come on, please feel free to. I will be muting when you come in, though. That it took me some time, and that's why I have to be easy with those men and women of God who may still be trying to process everything, because it took me time to regroup. It took me time. I don't know where my dog is. Oh, he's right here. It took me time to really get it through my head of what's really occurring in this particular climate. It took me time to evaluate who was in my life and who may be affected and how I may be affected. Breonna Taylor was sleeping. The police got word about some activity or something at her house. They came in. The rest is history. So none of us are exempt at this moment, Archbishop. We are all, I think we always have been, but the Black man in particular has always been a main focal point.
Can I make a turn? I'm gonna make a turn.
Sure.
I have the Archbishop hat on.
Okay.
What I want people of faith, because everybody's not going to grasp what I say.
Mm-hmm.
Faith to understand that as much as this appears to be about black and white,
Mm-hmm.
it's much bigger than that.
Yeah.
This is a spiritual thing. We have to really realize who it is that we are fighting. The Bible is clear about it, that we are wrestling not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, rulers of darkness
Yeah.
and spiritual wickedness in high places.
In
What
high
I'm
place.
saying, I'm saying that a lot of this is orchestrated by the adversary, and it's to
Right.
usher us into a new state of being. And so we need not to be distracted by the literal sense of what's happening. This is just a tool, it is just an instrument and a system that the adversary is using to try to usher his mandates in against
Mm-hmm.
the body of Christ. And those of us that are connected to the Lord by spirit, we need to be
Yeah.
concerned and don't get distracted by this, because the Bible says that we should not really entangle ourselves with the things of this world, because if
Yeah.
greater is he that is in us than he that is in this world. So then
Right.
we have a greater substance in us. We should not
Mm-hmm.
be so broken down about all of these little mysteries that's happening in this world. So don't be distracted. Recognize what's going on. Be proactive with it. But please understand that it's bigger than
Yeah.
what it appears to be.
So then so since we took a little left turn there. So then what would be the role of the church in this season, besides the fasting, besides the praying, besides the speaking of tongues? What is the role, the church's role? And I'm talking about as a whole. I'm not going to break it down to the Black church, the white evangelical church. Ronald Hayes is coming on. I'll give you 2 seconds, Ronald. I'm so thankful he's on here. But what is the role of the church as a whole, Archbishop?
One, to educate. Two,
Okay.
to empower. Three, to unify the body of Christ, because we're broken.
Mm-hmm. Right.
These issues of denomination, and my denomination, this is a whole nother show. My denomination is better than your denomination.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
with your denomination because you're not in the fold, or I can't fellowship with the Roman Catholics because even though they say they believe in Christ, but they're still, listen, we need to focus on our core beliefs, and our core beliefs
Right.
have Jesus Christ at the center of it. So the role of the church, because there's supposed to be a separation of church and state, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
said despite the prayer and fasting, but I still have to say, this might sound ugly to everybody, but we still got to pray for our leaders. We still
Absolutely. No, I agree with that.
we still got to pray for 45. God forgive me, and I'm being very careful, but
In the name of Jesus.
as much of an idiot that he is, we still got to pray for him. And the reason we got to
Archbishop.
pray for him is that ask God, Father, please don't let this man make a poor decision that's going to destroy everybody. When he gets ready to push that button, Father, we need you to intervene to stop his hand from pressing that red button to the atomic bomb or nuclear bomb.
Right.
Father, when he's getting ready to institute martial law and sending all the troops to exercise his will, Father, raise up a standard of people around him that will convict him and stop him from. We need to pray for him, and we need to know
Right.
what to pray for. You know, we don't have to like him,
Yeah.
but that is the
Yeah.
role of the church. I believe that's the role of the church.
So I will say this to you, and I'm in full agreement that we have to pray for him. I do. I will say this, and if you all go back, if you all have followed me through on Periscope since 2000, I think, and four, I want to say 2015, the day after the election when he was elected president, and the majority of my Periscope followers, came when I did a broadcast about the results. The majority said, "Oh man, I can't believe this. Oh man, I can't believe this." I think, in my personal opinion, and I'm not gonna say this is what God gave me, because I'm not gonna, you know how we do. Sometimes we be prophesying and saying what we think and saying God said, "Thus said the Lord." All right, so I'm very clear about that. I believe in my heart that God allowed Donald Trump to be elected the president.
Say that
Do
again.
we like it? You said what?
Say that again.
I believe that God allowed him to become the president. Follow me though. Just listen. Not because he was equipped to be the president. I believe that God allowed him to be the president to teach him a lesson, to humble him just a little piece. If you realize, he does not like any criticism. If you watch any press conference that he does, he limits the amount of media that's present, especially during the coronavirus. He was excited about that. I can have, so they have to be 6 feet apart. They mean eliminate 25 and allow 10, right? Because if you have 10, you're only going to get maybe 5 questions. You're not going to get 25 questions. You see what I'm saying? So I believe that God allowed that to happen. Nothing is done except God allow, right? Let's just be clear. But do I think that the people that voted for him the first time are regretting their decision? They're having buyer's remorse right now. They're having buyer's remorse. Unfortunately, this is not a purse from Neiman Marcus that you can just take back and they give you a credit or your money back on a credit card. Okay? They are having major buyer's remorse. They're like, what in the whole hell did we do? Why did we press that button to elect him president? I think the majority of the majority, not all, because you still have some that are like, Trump is the man and that's it.
I think it's deeper, it's bigger than Trump. You said that God allowed this so that he could learn a lesson. Yeah. No, I believe that God allowed this so that this country could learn a lesson. And that lesson is this: there's a faction of white America that wanted a Caesar. They wanted Caesar. They were not happy with what God gave us in terms of President Obama, whose record is spotless. Mm-hmm. Anybody says that we were not happy. So they demanded a Caesar, and they got it. It's just, and this is biblical. Mm-hmm. It's just like the prophet Samuel. The people wanted a king. They were tired of it. They wanted a king. So God said, give them Saul. And the biggest mistake that was ever made. And so this is where we are right now. They wanted a Caesar. How you like him now?
Right.
You said.
And
like you said, people are having buyer's remorse, or they
Major
regret
buyer's remorse.
that they regret that they put him in office. I mean, it's horrible. But go ahead.
Mhm. No, I think they're having major buyer's remorse right now. I think that they are up to. I think that the people who said we're going to vote the lesser of two evils. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that, both in person in the community, on of course on Fox News, Fox and Friends. They wanted the lesser of two evils. So you have it. So you think until you get into a position like this, where your now president is telling you to take hydrochloroquine for the. I took it and I'm fine. I'm doing amazing. I can do jump ropes when Lord only knows he has cardiovascular issues. Okay,
I
being
thought you
taken
could
to,
shoot disinfectant.
huh?
I thought you could shoot some disinfectant in your veins.
No, you thought you could take bleach by IV, right?
Right, right.
And kill the coronavirus.
Can I do
You know,
that? Can I do that?
these these people, and the sad part about it is I am so glad that all these major companies were like, hold on for a second, we are not endorsing you all drinking bleach. Because there's somebody that thought about doing that. You
They
know
did.
that for yourself.
Right. There were some
Yeah.
people that actually died under the instruction of 45. You know how many people have died either in war or at the spoken word of 45? A lot of
Oh
people
yeah.
die. Those are lives that he has to account for.
Absolutely. And he can't give it without blame because look at his position. And this is the thing. He will do all of this craziness and then say, well, President Obama,
Yeah.
like Obama is the scapegoat, right? Obama is the ultimate scapegoat for him. It's like he will make a decision. He will hold strong to that decision. And as soon as he gets, especially from conservative media, we're going all the way up top, but it's okay. Especially from the conservative media, he will then say, well, you didn't say that to President Obama. This is not a schoolyard fight or a schoolyard scuffle, beloved. You are running the country. You are running the United States of America.
But
You are not sitting around you're not sitting around playing chess or checkers online. You are dealing with people's lives and their livelihood. And that's the part. Well, see, and I'm going to take it back to the race part for a second. There are certain citizens that you can play with black people, okay? But you can't play with dogs and their money. Tell me I'm lying. You can't mess with a dog, and you definitely can't mess with their money. You hit a dog, or if you take $25 million out their bank account, then now that's when they're gonna say let freedom ring. But when you're talking about the life of our beloved George Floyd, okay, without all the demonizing that CO has done to his life and for his children and for his family, you're talking about a life that's lost due to the hands of police violence and brutality.
let me throw this. You don't have to say it. This is coming from me. I did observe a video of a young lady, initial CO, and it really, really stunned me at how we could be so easily used and misguided, and how some of us can miss the mark. What I don't want people to do is cheapen what has
Yeah,
transpired.
yeah.
There are attempts to paint George Floyd out as being a bad person. Now,
Mhm. Mhm.
whatever got him arrested, whatever it was, whether it was an alleged $20 fake bill or whatever the crime was, even if he had
Mhm.
to murder somebody, he was supposed to be apprehended,
Mhm.
secured, and taken to whatever processing facility to be judged in court. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter his personality prior to that. Now,
So
this
go
particular
ahead. I have
person,
something to say about that.
okay, this
No,
particular
no, go
person
ahead.
tried to destroy any inkling or diminish the power of
Yeah,
the atrocity that this took place. They have tried to deflect from what happened. And
yeah.
it's a wrong, in my opinion, it's a bad position to be in. It's a dangerous, as we call it, a slippery slope for you to put yourself on to begin to demonize this man. You
Mm-hmm.
know, what are your thoughts?
Do have a thought, and I'm going to ask Mr. Hayes if he's talking about the black leaders in the church or in totality. So here's the thing, and we're going to go through. We're going to talk a little bit now about social media, right? So at first, it was your local newspaper or a national newspaper, the New York Times, the Washington Post. If you go back to Trump era back in the 80s and the 90s, that's where he did a lot of his tweeting early on back in the day. Now we have a modern day version in our hands to say and do whatever we would like to say and do. And for some people, like myself, I am not yet monetized here on YouTube. So, but I'm still going to have the conversation because I'm still trying to build my audience. But most importantly, I'm trying to get the word out. Okay, so it's not just about money, but money plays a part in it. So for the young lady named CO, when she had 1.8 million views or 18 million views to one post, that's equivalent to almost $200,000 in her pocket. As of Monday, her post was up to 83 million views. So in social media land, when you get to a certain status and you have a certain algorithm, it's equivalent to money. So I will say to you, because at my fingertips, I can come on here right now, Archbishop, and I can fake the funk. Hey, my name is CATRICEDOWNS. Guess what, guys? I love Trump. 5 million people will love it. But am I being true to myself? No. Okay. She can get on her cell phone or her laptop and she can say whatever she wants because she has conservative media that follows her, conservative media that books her, conservative media that and conservative voters that follow her and praise her and look at her like she is this black goddess that came out of nowhere, that understands poor white people, that understands rich white people. Now, I have not done my research on her, so I don't want to give you any facts. And again, let me just put this up on here because Archbishop, people will try to come for you here on. So I'm gonna put everything that's on here as a legend.
But
We
we
did
have
this last time.
there's a lesson that she should learn. And
But here's the thing. But
all you got to do is look at Paris. Remember brother Paris?
Paris who?
Paris, who was pro-Trump everything. I think
Oh yeah.
he, he,
Mhm.
he's gone, isn't he?
But here's the thing. But there's a new up and coming gentleman, and I follow him here on YouTube. I'm not going to mention his name. He is a African American commentator, political commentator. He does not consider himself a journalist. Here's the thing. It's all about money.
Bald head
If
guy?
I oh, he's black.
Bald head guy?
Yes. Tall, chiseled tall, chiseled chin, all the above. Okay. The point that I'm making is this. If you, going back to my upbringing, right? So let me just say that from where I am sitting and where I grew up on one side of the aisle, I could be considered a CO. I could say, oh my God, those people, they come out and they write and they look. No, no, no. But I know who I am. Okay. On the flip side of that, you have a person who may not have a moral compass. who feels justified in saying what she wants to say about someone that looks just like you and I, even though she's the same color, but she believes that she's something that she's not. Now, allegedly, she's married to a white man. Okay, and that's neither here nor there. But you don't know who's pushing the narrative. You don't know who's saying what. According to sources that I have not verified, so y'all, that's why I have the alleged at the bottom of that here screen, that she grew up very poor. Okay, but when you get when you start getting a certain level of class, or you get around a certain level of people and money and influence, what do you think happens? Sometimes people change, the narrative shifts. And then when you start to realize, holy crap, from one video, I can make almost $500,000. This is a no-brainer. Why not post? Why not say what I have to say? I don't care if it endangers someone else's life. Because at the end of the day, I can go and go on Chanel and Louboutin and buy 25 pairs of shoes and buy 4 bags. I don't care about my fellow Black brother and sister. Why do I have to care? The majority boils down to money. I told you, animals, in particular dogs, and money, you can't mess with certain folk.
Yeah, but this.
And I was gonna make a. You said what?
But this is the whole situation. You said the role of the church. Well, I'm expanding it to people and say, look, it's not about any one individual.
Yeah.
It's not about that person that wants to come out of the field and be in the house, who is willing to do anything to get into the house.
Yeah.
You understand? And so
absolutely,
those people really need to have a conscience check. And people like that, eventually things come crashing down. Those things that they're built up on the neck of other people. For example, there's a popular female talk show host with the initials of WW.
You told me I was the Christian version.
Right? But
okay,
here's the deal with that.
Yeah.
They made their career standing on the necks of everybody else. And now they're the one that's at the top of the stories. So things have a way of coming back around. And
absolutely.
So I just think that we really need, is it worth it? Is it worth being ostracized by your own people? Is it worth losing your family? Is it worth losing your soul for?
I will say this to you, Archbishop. People can look at me the same way, though. How can you be in the ministry for the amount of time that you were in ministry for, serving, worshiping, traveling, the whole 9 yards, and then one day you just say, I need a break because of all the loss that I've experienced. But then I write a book, Triumph Over Adversity, Overcoming Church. Thank you. You start speaking out against church foolishness. People can say the same thing about me. And trust me, in my comment section, if I post a video, I posted a video about a very well-known prophet, and my comment section goes absolutely berserk. I posted a video about a well-known bishop. It says she's not important. I posted a video about a well-known bishop over a year ago. Now, mind you, I thought for sure I was going to catch a lot of heat for that. The complete opposite. Because the majority of his congregants did not look like me. Even though he is considered a brother, most of his congregants they don't look like me. And so then, but that's one thing that I realized about some of the people in our community is that, you will have people on the opposite side of the aisle that will speak up. On our side, that's not always the case. So when you have someone like myself who is not afraid to call a spade, regardless of how much you love your beloved prophet liar in chief, okay? How much you love your apostate, all right? You know what name I'm going, the apostle. I don't care, because I'm going to say I'm serious. I'm going to say what I have to say about your favorite apostate and prophet liar. And because if they're out here doing some messed up stuff, and I feel as though that they are manipulating the sheep, which I don't think is right, I'm gonna speak up about it. And so people could say that I'm not ignorant to that. I know exactly who you're talking about, and I know her past, and I know her now current situation, but I also know where my role was and where my role is right now. And that's why the channel is called Cocktails, Church, and Controversy, because people are not always going to like what I have to say, but we have to have the conversation.
I believe that if you say something that's wrong,
Mm-hmm.
I believe that you'll own to it. And
Yeah.
that's a big difference. Some people will
Yeah.
be wrong and stay with and intentionally
That's
stay with.
true.
And so there's a difference there. Do I feel that
Yeah.
we have to be careful about throwing stones? We really do. We got to be very careful. We
Have
have
to be careful.
biblical examples of that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he who
Mm-hmm.
enters without sin, let them cast the first stone.
Yeah.
And because we all have made mistakes. And so
Absolutely.
you have to be wise in how we look at our brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Now, am I wrong? Did you say that there was a brother that had a question?
Yes, he said, "Where are the black leaders?" But then I asked Mr. Hayes what would his if he meant the church leaders or just regular leaders. But the question was, "Where are our black leaders?"
Okay. Um, I guess I would say that, again, I can't speak for all of them. I cannot. I don't know their various situations. But I would say that I would hope and I would like to see a little more visibility from them. Uh,
Yeah.
I know that, and when I use the word poor, when I say poor, Al Sharpton can't be everywhere. He
Yes.
can't take on the whole world himself. There was a time when he was ostracized, he was looked down upon, but that man has poured himself into the communities of this country and has been a
Yeah.
voice when there's been no voice until whenever he moves, he's greatly respected and he's greatly feared because they realize that
Yes,
he's
he
not
is.
another dumb Negro. He's not dumb. But I think
Yeah.
that leaders should be more visible. They should make their voice heard. I can't say where they are, brother, but I can say that, at least for this one, I'm doing everything that I can to stand up between news feeds, videos, marching. I'm doing what I can do. And that's all
Mm-hmm.
I can do.
Now we have another question, and I have to be honest, Mr. Green. It says, "Have you heard of Daniel Schaefer?" Do you know
Daniel,
who Daniel Schaefer is? I'm not familiar with that name.
me either.
Daniel Schaefer. Uh, the shooting of Daniel Schaefer by Arizona. Oh, okay. Police officer who fatally shot Sabi man temporarily rehired to apply for pension. But this looks like it's a Caucasian gentleman that was shot. Wow. Did not know about Daniel Schaefer. Thank you for your question, Green. If the conversation or the topic incites me, was murdered by police. Have you heard of him? No, I have not. Have you heard of him, Archbishop Daniel Schaefer?
I'm looking at something right here. It says on
Okay.
January 18th, 2016, uh,
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Shaver or Schaefer's? Which are we looking?
Shaver.
Okay, Daniel Shavers, who is from Texas, who was shot dead by police officer Philip Balesford in the hallway of La Quinta Inn Suite Hotels in Mesa,
Mm-hmm.
Arizona. And it says after the shooting, the rifle which remained in the room, was determined to be a pellet gun. And
Okay.
so it just gives us, it says Baleswood was charged with second-degree murder and a lesser manslaughter charge and found not guilty by a jury. Hmm.
So the gentleman just said, yeah, because nobody rioted about him. Should they have rioted? So I will say this, Mr. Green. I The rioting has come after the protest, okay? But the people that were related to Mr. Shaver, and excuse me for calling him Schaefer, but Shaver should have started some sort of movement. So I think it's not really going again with the conversation, only because we have an influx of, and I'm not discrediting his death, of course, like we so sorry to hear that he's lost his life to police brutality. Um, but I will say that, we're the people that were around him that were looking to cry loud. They didn't even charge the cop. So that's a shame. See, and that's another example. Like we talked about that 75-year-old man earlier who was knocked down by the police. You know, so let me ask you this before we close, because at the hour is getting late. What do they say in the church? The hour is getting from us. We have belaboured the time. What do you say as a whole, Archbishop, about police brutality? Because it's apparent that this is not just a Black issue. But in our community, this is something something that we're very passionate about. And I think, Mr. Green, that the families should definitely start a protest. What do you say as a whole about police brutality?
Broad, broad.
It's very broad. I
Um,
know.
from the outside, I believe that it's systemic and that people of color are suffering more than our brothers and sisters that are white. We are being judged on appearance, and we are almost being tried before we can even open up our mouths.
Mhm. Mhm.
Inside, or before I even do that, I feel that this is something that has to change, and I believe that the world has made that clear. And now it's up
Mhm.
to our leaders to make change. Now, from the inside, as it relates to police brutality, and you've not heard anybody say this, but there are people of color that are working in the police department who work with these abusive white officers who are
Mhm.
silent,
Yeah.
have not said anything about their brother officer that's out there beating people up. They won't say
Mhm.
anything until it turns out to be one of their relatives that gets really hurt or killed. And then when the
Mhm.
officer come back, he says, "Oh, I didn't know it was your relative." It's too late then. So what I
Yeah.
would like to say to all of the law enforcement officers that are
One
working,
second. Mhm.
we need you to have a voice. We need
Yeah.
you to not stand by and let these few officers, because I think in every police department there's some bad officers, but I want to believe you got more good officers than bad. I really want to believe that.
I want to believe the same thing.
You know, we need the good officers now to stand up and out the bad officers. So this way we can hit it from outside and it can be hit from inside. A voice
Mhm.
out from within the ranks and say, we will not stand for that. And I can close on this. When I used to work, they knew don't put
Mhm.
nothing around me. You know, I
Mhm.
was that afraid guy that was worried about you saying I'm a rat. No,
Mhm.
do nothing around me. I'm telling you in advance. You do
Yeah.
something illegal, I am not going to stand for it, and I'm not going to go down for your illegal act. So people
That's right.
stand up. Stop worrying about this blue wall. If it's enough of you that stand up, then
Mhm.
you'll be fine. Yeah, that person might have to save their life one day, but guess what? You may have to save their life one day.
And Daniel Green, he's asking a question, and I'm going to respond to the question if you don't mind, Archbishop. I think not Daniel Green, Herb Green. The question he asked was, don't you think the movement will be more effective if they didn't make it about race? And then it says, why can't, hold on. It says, hi, moon crickets. No, yeah, well, you're stalking. So let me just go ahead and block him. I didn't know I could do that on here, but thank God I can. I'm not ignoring your question, Mr. Green. I was allowing Archbishop to finish his statement. It says, why can't we put this up on the screen so you can read it? Why can't he be a part of the movement about police killing Black people? This is what I'm going to say. If you all don't, if those in your own personal community do not stand up for injustice and random killings of your citizens, you're not gonna be heard. Okay, so if you feel that passionate, then go online, go to Eventbrite, host a protest, and put up Daniel Shaver's name. That's your right to do. It's like, I don't know if people think because we are protesting and rallying that it's just about Black lives, but at the end of the day, the people that we're losing and we're protesting about, it's in our community, and so we have a right to say something about that. I was not ignoring your question, but I think that what you might need to do, Herb Green, instead of us looking for someone else to be considered a leader, we need to start leading on our own. This is why I'm holding a conversation, because it's not just about Black lives, but at the end of the day, this is my community. And so on my platform, I'm going to express my disdain for what is happening within my own personal community. If you feel as though that you want to, protest or start, say his name, do a hashtag Daniel Shaver. Why hasn't anyone said something about that? You become the leader. You don't have to be a leader out in the streets. You can be a leader here on YouTube. You can be a leader here on Facebook or Instagram. Whatever platform that you choose of your choice, you can lead. The challenge is, Archbishop, that I see, and I'm not just talking about I'm talking about in all communities. We are waiting for a leader to arise, when right now we have the ability to have the conversation on our own. And then what happens is we become the leader. We become the people in the forefront that are going to make a change. We're not afraid to have a conversation. Green, you have a YouTube channel and you don't have a profile pic. Get a nice profile picture up there. Hope it's, comb your hair, look good, and then press record and have the conversation. I think the challenge is that, I think on the other side, on with our other brothers and sisters on the Caucasian side, they want us to rally for them. When we have been oppressed for so long that we can't help but rally, we can't help but protest. It's in our blood. It's in our DNA. We have to fight back. We were in slavery for like 400 years ago. We were in slavery. So it is our duty to say something. It is our duty to stand up. And so if you want to mention his name, do a hashtag Daniel Shaver. Where's the justice for Daniel Shaver? I'm here for you, brother. All right. But I think that's the challenge. We are waiting for a leader to arise, when guess what? We are the leader. It's like a Fortune 500 company. Nike didn't start overnight. Miss Carter's Kitchen in Baltimore, it's a Black-owned business. She didn't start overnight. She had a vision, and she put pen to paper. Then she put action to the vision, and now she has 2 or 3 locations in Baltimore. You have to act on whatever it is that you listen. Do you think I'm not comfortable all the time, Archbishop, coming on camera. People think that I make it look very easy to do this, okay? But when you have a passion for something, to have a conversation, you just get up and you just do it. Are you there?
I agree.
You've been having the conversation.
I've been having so much conversation that sometimes I feel talked out. I feel like Paul Revere crying out, "The British are coming, the British are coming." And you
Yes.
hope that people are listening. Or if I want to be biblical, it could be John the Baptist, that voice that's crying out from the wilderness.
Yes. Prepare you the way of the Lord.
But
yes, God, come on.
the bottom line is that voices have to be raised.
You
And
have
we
to.
have to use wisdom. And as a man of God, I still hold to that Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 model. Trust in the Lord with
Mhm.
all your heart and lean not upon your
Yes.
understanding. And
Yes.
acknowledge him in all
Absolutely.
our ways, and what? He
He will
will.
direct your path.
I believe,
That's right.
I stand on that. And
Yeah.
I think that's what's kept me thus far.
Well, amen. Well, listen, I'm not going to. It's almost 8:45, and it might be time for you and First Lady to watch a little game show on TV. But I want to thank you so much for coming on and having this conversation with me. I know you were praying for me, y'all. I told Archbishop before I came on, I said, you know what, this is not an easy conversation for me to have at this moment. But I knew that we had to have it in order to get to the next level. And I thank you for being a sound voice within the body of Christ, the Christian community that people can listen to. And you don't. One thing about you that I like is that you don't mind bringing other people into the conversation. You don't mind getting different perspectives into the fold. I think that's important. I've been praying about who can I have on the platform next to have this conversation as well, because I don't want it to just be one-sided. I don't want it to be just the church. I don't want it to be just, your regular everyday citizen. I want it to be the person who has a passion for this particular subject, white, black, purple, or green. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I appreciate you. Tell the people where they can find you.
You
Someone
can
said, move to
go.
Africa. God bless you. You're going to be blocked. I love social media. I ain't got to put up with no bass. Told me to move to Africa. I've been called worse on Plenty of Fish and Tinder. Crazy. No, I really haven't. Not on Tinder.
I
I
learned
get good
about
reviews on Tinder. Okay.
I learned about blocking watching you back on
Oh,
Clubhouse.
I'm quick on the block. You ain't look 2.5 seconds. You will have a nasty comment on my page, and then dear heart, you are blocked.
If people want to follow me, they can go to Facebook, Archbishop Russell James on Facebook. You can send me an email at arrowyahweh@gmail.com. Again, that's arrowofyahweh@gmail.com. Bless you all.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you all so much. We've had so many people come in our forum for tonight. And I personally want to say thank you to each and every one of you all, good, bad, or indifferent. I hope that you all enjoyed the conversation. Please do me a favor and leave a comment below. I am your girl, Catrice Downs. Catrice Downs on all social media platforms. CatriceDowns.com is my website. I take all mail, positive, negative. Because we have to have the conversation, and Black lives, indeed, they do matter. And until next time, I will see you all. Archbishop, thank you. God bless. Until next time, you guys, God bless. Peace.